Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Good morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you're at. Thank you for joining me. I am so glad that you have taken the time to listen to TFTC with yours truly here. This is Tales from the Corners. This is a website that I had for many moons, and I'm not sure if anybody really understands that I named the podcast talesfromthecorners.com because I had this domain for years. I did a blog, and I'll still contribute to that blog every now and then, but for the sake of consistency, I have called it that long before others have used the word corners in their titles, and some of them know who they are. So I've had Tales from the Corners for a very, very long time, probably more than a decade. And if you want to go there, talesfromthecorners.com, you could see the great amount of people who I've spoken with on this podcast. And before the podcast, I was on blogspot.com, where I was doing a lot of entries there as well. Just had this domain for many, many years, and I have been calling the podcast as such for consistency. It's an arts podcast. I speak with all kinds of wonderful people, leaders, creators, artists of all stripes. We started this during the pandemic, where I'm speaking with those who couldn't perform live, and they were doing all these Facebook concerts as such. But the pandemic has been pretty much over. We do get COVID here from time to time. It has mutated down to very little, like it's actually the flu. But when I started this thing, it was pretty scary stuff. I just never felt like it was going to end. For some reason, I was like, this can't. How could we get out of this? But I do believe that the vaccines definitely brought those numbers down and got business back in order. And thanks to really a great thing called Operation Warp Speed, which some people should be very proud of. It really got, I think the whole goal of it was to just get the world back, get the economy back and humming along, which it did. I believe it did. And it's a wonderful thing in our history. And we'll read about how great Operation Warp Speed was. It definitely helped and got people to where they are. But I'm still keeping this going, and I'm really enjoying it. So anyway, so here I am. This is spring 2025. I started this in 2020. It's been a little more over 4 years as we speak and counting. It's a lot of fun. This week, or today, or on this new episode, I am speaking with a wonderful duo. Andrea Zonn and John Cowan are longtime musicians who've been in the business for a very long time. Collectively, it's many moons, many decades of experience. Andrea is an accomplished musician, most notably for playing the fiddle. And we get into a bit of that. And John Cowan has worked with many greats, including the Doobie Brothers. We get into that a little bit here, but they join forces and they have a wonderful collection of amazing songs on a collection called Andrea Zonn and John Cowan Are the HercuLeons. And we talk about how they came up with that name as well for their duo, their outfit as such. And they have a great cast of characters on this record, filled with many great songs. The most notable song is an ode to those in the Asheville area in Western North Carolina that they were victims of Hurricane Helene. And they put together a wonderful song, great music video that goes along with it as well. So I really hope you enjoy this. They have just so much musical experience and had a great time. So here goes. Good morning. How are you doing?
You know what? I'm fine. I have had the crud though, and I'm a little hoarse today.
Oh gosh, yeah. What do you do to deal with that before performances? Do you have tea ready?
Luckily, I haven't had to do anything except talk this week. But
Yeah.
usually, honey, to me is the go-to, just because it really soothes everything. But it hardly ever happens, so I don't know. I flew to California over the weekend, and I think there were just cooties on the plane.
Sure.
I think.
That can
How are
easily do
you?
it. I'm doing great. This is the afternoon here in the Atlanta metro area, and
That's right, just down the
beautiful
road.
day. Yeah, yeah, it
Oh,
is.
good. We're a little overcast today, so you'll probably have this tomorrow,
Yeah, everything you get, we get like not that much
a
later
few
on.
hours later. Hey, I listened to one of your episodes this morning with Jonathan Lerner. I
Yeah.
loved that conversation. I wanted to be in the room with you.
Oh, how
Like, I just
cool.
was like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh, I remember that too. And I have a 17-year-old son. So when you guys were talking about those awkward teenage years, it just hit home.
Oh,
It
wow.
was terrific. I loved it.
I appreciate that. That's really
Yeah,
cool that
really loved
somebody's
it.
looking me up. He lived here in Atlanta for a while. I didn't know him so much while he was in Atlanta. We just had somewhat connected because we've been writers for a long time. I did a lot of
Right,
freelance work.
right. And you've been in Atlanta for a long time.
Yes, yes, many more years than I care to admit. It's
Yeah,
most
I
of my
don't think
life, actually.
it's
I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. That's where I'm
okay.
originally from. I know, John,
Uh-huh.
you, welcoming
Good
John,
morning.
you,
I am a long-suffering Browns fan. Yes,
exactly. Yeah.
I'm from Solon, Ohio.
Yeah, my sister ended up moving to Solon, like a lot of people did. I grew up in South Euclid, and
Wow,
yeah, yeah,
how
Solon,
about that?
yeah.
I grew up on the other side of Indiana in Illinois, so we're all Midwesterners at heart.
No, they pronounce it Urbana, Urbana. Everybody
Urbana,
pronounces
Champaign,
Urbana.
Urbana. Yep. As vanilla
Yes,
as you can say it, that's how they said it, because it's right there where there's no hills, no landscape, no nothing.
yeah, where the twisters can come right through and
They
just
just come right through. So do the ice storms, the blizzards.
oh God, I don't miss that. I got a bad back from shoveling snow most of those years up there in
I
South Euclid.
remember.
It
Oh my
was
God. I remember in 78, I think we had this blizzard where just feet and feet and feet of snow. And we had a state rep that lived on our street. So the snowplows never missed us. And the snow was piled like above our heads. And we were building like two-story ice towers. We'd get everything kind of mapped out, and then somebody's dad would come out with a bucket of water and pour it over so it would freeze over. And oh my God, it was so much fun. We'd go outside till we couldn't move our hands anymore. Then we'd come in and run them under tepid water till we could feel them again, and then right back outside.
yeah. I don't miss that for anything. Being here in the Atlanta area, we did get snow this year, which was really like
No,
amazing.
it's like an apocalyptic
That's
event.
crazy.
Yeah, it's very weird. Like it was like beautiful, balmy, and then the next day it's snow. And it was the most we had probably in over 5 years.
Oh
It
my
was really
Wow.
goodness. Did it
bizarre.
shut the town down?
Always does. I don't want to
Yeah,
go anywhere.
yeah.
I
That's
I
how it is
don't want
here
to
too.
drive anywhere.
That's how it is here too. It
Yeah.
just everybody, clear the stores out and then stay home.
Yeah. So you guys have
Unless you're a
been, yeah.
teenager and then you think, oh, I can drive in this. No, you can't.
Oh, no way. No
You
way. I
may
don't
not.
trust anybody out there. It's
No.
terrifying. It really, even with all the experience I had growing up there and driving in that, it's
But
just
it's other people. You
yeah,
gotta
it
watch out
really
for
is.
other people.
Oh, just terrifying. But
Yeah.
yeah, anyway, so gosh, you guys are well-known musicians. This is amazing. I'm so glad you joined me here. And just what a history and just leafing through the stuff that you've done. And Andrea, I've listened to your solo album that you did 10 years ago now. Can you believe it's
I know.
been
Can you
10
believe it's
years
been
since
that long?
Rise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
do a record every 10 years, whether I need to or not.
Keeps you in shape, like,
That's right.
like
That's right.
exercise.
That's right.
So you have a great new project out and you're just releasing it now as we speak. It's being released on March 21st, 2025. And as we're speaking, I'll release this in a bit here in the spring of 2025. But great new project. How did all this come together?
This started in the pandemic. Now, Andrea and she moved at Nashville in '87, I think.
86.
Wow, it's changed a
86.
lot since then, I'm sure.
Yes,
It's
it has.
So I must have met her in '87, and our paths would just cross continually over the years. And I was a huge fan of hers, and I think could say she was a fan of mine as well. But we never actually, when the pandemic hit, she and I got hired to go sing on this custom recording project. And most sessions you do, you might go in for 3 songs. This was like 10 songs.
It went on and
Whoops.
on
Yeah.
and on.
We got a lot.
But the thing that occurred to me is, because I don't think we probably had jumped up on stage together before.
We'd done a few things. We'd sung on each other's records, I think, by that
Right.
point. And I'd done some of your solo shows. And yes, we jumped around we sung on other projects.
But so after we did that, on the way home from that session that night, we both picked up our phones at the same time to call the other one and just to say, I love you so much. We have to sing together. We have to do this. Whatever this is, we have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
It was amazing. We had the same thought at the same time. I mean, literally picked up the phone at the same moment. And just to say, gosh, I adore you and I love singing with you. What are we going to do about this?
Yeah, this kind of also reminds me on a much different scale with Elton John and Brandy Carlisle. People are like, how are these two getting
How did-
together? But there was this passion. You could really feel that. You could feel it in this new project that you've put together.
Oh, that's
Definitely.
nice of you to say. Yeah, you know who your kindred spirits are, right? I mean, we recognize each other.
Yeah, totally, totally. So
Mhm.
how does I know the organic nature of the name HercuLeons. For those who don't know, I love this because it's like my band is so strong, it's like Hercules, but then there's a little bit of Leon Russell influence, and how the spelling of this
Musical
came up.
heavy lifting with some soul.
Yeah.
I was describing when Andrea and I started this, doing Facebook Live shows. We didn't even have a name. It was John Cowan and Andrea Zonn. But we had these 3 young bluegrass hotshot guys playing with us, and they were just like unbelievable.
Great.
And someone was asking me about, well, what are they like? And I was just like, their skills are Herculean,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And then of course at some point we thought, well, that would be a good nice play on words to call it the HercuLeons. And then of course I had a lifetime friendship and worked in Leon Russell's band in 78, 79, and 1980, and we remained lifelong friends. So it was just an obvious thing to me.
Yeah, you could feel that influence and
Yeah.
how Leon has really had that impact on you. You have such a great musical journey and a history, which, shows up on this project as well. Your track, The Lucky One, is one that really gets to me. It's just
Oh, I'm so
how
glad.
strong that is, the acoustic and the way that starts. How did that vibe generate for you?
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
It's interesting because that song was written by our producer, Wendy Waldman, and she and Carla Bonoff, Andrew Gold, and Kenny Edwards had this fabulous project, probably didn't ever get enough attention, called Brindle, and that song was on that record. But John had actually sung a demo of it, and I loved it so much when we were kind of listening through and pouring through it. He said, "But you should sing it." And I said, "No, you should definitely sing it." And he said, "No, you should sing it." So we had a little moment about that. But it's kind of, that is one of those nucleus tracks, just because Wendy was such a part of the creation of the song, and us bringing our spin on it and bringing our pals. We had John McPhee, who John works with the Doobie Brothers. We had him play electric guitar and steel on it, so it was one of those songs that kind of brought a lot of our worlds together.
Yeah, I like that feel to it. So how much country really comes in to your inspirations? Did you grow up listening to a lot of country?
I did. I did. You know, it's funny. I had been I was born in 1969 and I grew up playing classical music, but I had this little clock radio next to my bed and I would listen to the rock station at night, you know, and sing along with like Debbie Boone and like You Light Up My
Yeah.
Life
Oh, you light up my life. Gosh.
and Anne
Wow.
Murray and like all these great, you know,
Boy.
you probably
We're
didn't
around
know
the
that
same
because you're
age. Yeah, I
young.
remember. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. But then 1980 hit. Remember, like we'd stay up. We couldn't go out and celebrate New Year's Eve, but we'd stay up and we'd watch, you know, we'd watch uh,
Oh, there
the
was,
ball fall
yeah.
and the, you know, the Rockin' Eve kind of thing and Dick Clark, the whole thing. And and I remember 1980, it's like, you know, there was oh, there's like this switch to punk rock. They made a big deal about it. And I was like, but I don't want punk rock. I want my 70s. Like
No.
I
Yeah.
want
I love that
Michael
stuff.
McDonald and like all of this
Yeah.
stuff. And
Yeah.
so I started flipping around on the radio station and I heard Merle Haggard and I started listening to country music. Yeah, at the same time, like I'd been playing the violin for about 5 years and I knew that I wasn't accomplished enough, far enough along to play really great classical music. And so I felt sort of almost embarrassed at the stuff that was able to play. My parents were both musicians, so our whole life was full of these amazing classical musicians. And I was like, yeah, well, I'm playing, you know, whatever student level material. And I started playing fiddle music, which felt like real music to me. You know, at that age, it was like you could play Old Joe Clark or Sally Gooden or one of these simple tunes, but it sounded like real music. And it kind of opened up this whole other set of possibilities for me.
It does. It gives it a really nice texture to a lot of the songs we hear, the fiddle throughout this entire album, and it's just it brings me back. It's kind of like comfort food, just like yacht rock. And I know, John, you have somewhat of a connection to that
Rock
old
is
yacht
the
rock.
most delicious thing ever. It is the comfort
It
food of
really
music.
is,
That's
doesn't it?
right.
It feels like home. It brings you back. It's just
It
that.
does.
Absolutely.
It's so great.
Yeah. And speaking of that, because John, you have that connection with the Doobies, and
Of course.
of course, and just
Well, I
like,
mean, it's like I get to stand, 12 feet from Michael McDonald all night, every night for 2 hours, and
yeah,
be astounded and amazed by his singing and who he is. He's such a wonderful person as well. Anyone that knows him would tell you that. So
yeah.
yes, and then of course Pat Simmons and Tom Johnson, the other two founding members of the Doobie Brothers. They've written so many songs that are just generational. It's like Blackwater and Long Train Running, and it goes on and on and on. Jesus is Just All Right with Me. All these
Uh-huh.
touchstones from the '70s.
It does, and that's why those shows sell out. It's just the soundtrack of so many lives,
Yeah.
and then they pull in those newer fans. As a lot of these legacy acts are, and you've been so a part of that, and it's so impressive. But you got Michael McDonald into this project. I'm trying to survive. It's just really it's just so nice to have him involved in this. How did that come about?
That came about because when I wrote that song with my writing partner, I said I want to write a Michael McDonald song, and I had this riff on the bass that I was playing. It was a doodly doo doodly doo doodly doo doodly doo, and then he started playing. My co-writer started playing piano. We finished the song. It got put in the vault for about 25 years.
Oh my gosh,
20 years,
that's a
and
tough
then
one
I
to dig out.
and I played the demo for Andrea and Wendy. And they were like, "Hell yeah!"
We're
And then
doing
I thought, well, what if I could get Michael to sing the bridge on this song, since I wrote it for him. I wrote it with him in mind. So the bridge is like, Father, Father,
Yeah,
always sisters and brothers.
I
Sounds
love
just
that.
like him on the record.
Yeah, you're with him so much, it rubs off on you. It's in your head.
Oh
It
yeah,
definitely.
yeah. He's an icon. They all are.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
I'm just a guy living pinch me moments every 2 years.
Yeah, and you have a book out too, just like Michael McDonald just put out a
Mhm.
book with Paul Reiser helping him. That's really nice to be able to get somebody that prolific to help you put out that
Oh yeah.
biography. Yeah, that's fantastic. And the Doobies are back out here in 2025 as well, celebrating how many years together. My gosh, it's yeah,
Well, now it's 50. Now it's 50. It's going on 54.
yeah,
Because the band started in 70. Yeah, something like that. Anyways, this is
yeah.
our this is our fourth 50th anniversary tour.
The fourth annual 50th
No,
anniversary
really.
tour.
Every time you turn around, but it does so well. It's like everybody's like, I love this. The
Oh
catalog is
yeah,
just incredible. So,
yeah.
and to be a part of that and doing your part in those shows, definitely, and playing places like Blossom Music Center, it's just those are just iconic places to play. So yeah, I love seeing that. But back to this project, I love Still I Sing. It has that Lady
Oh, thank
Antebellum
you.
vibe. I love Lady Antebellum.
They're so
It
great.
really reminds me of that. It's
Oh, cool.
how did
We
the
should.
songs come together for you like this? Like when you are you
That
writing
song,
lyrics first?
that song, I had a writing date with Tom Utes and Tim Stafford. Tom and I had written a ton together. We wrote most of my last record together, and I'd known Tim Stafford forever. Tim has played with Alison Krauss over the years, and he's just a musical stalwart. He's just an incredible talent. But we had never written together, and we were sitting together in my living room. And they both had their guitars out, and I had my violin, and we were just looking at each other's instruments and going, wow, that's a beautiful guitar. What is that? And when was it made? Blah, blah, blah. And we were talking about wood. It was like this, we had no idea what we were going to write that day. But we started with this conversation about our instruments, and we started imagining how the wood is selected. And it's like there's in musical circles, in luthier circles, older wood is really a gem because the trees weren't grown on purpose. They're allowed more time to grow, and the grain is closer together. It changes the sound. And so we were talking about all of that stuff, and then we just sort of kept going down that road and pulling the thread, and decided we would tell the story of a tree who grows tall and is like the plaything for children and a home for birds and wild critters, and comes down in a storm. While it's alive, it never has a chance to sing except when the wind kind of whips through its trees. But then once it's felled, it becomes an instrument, and now it's like through you I sing, like I get to participate now. I don't know, it was just one of those things that sort of spilled out of us. No idea.
I bet
Yeah.
Shel Sil- I
Yeah.
bet Shel Silverstein would like this song.
Yeah,
All you
definitely.
parents, all
Describe
you
the giving
parents out
tree.
there, right?
Yeah. And you get a little bit more topical with Face of Appalachia. Now that's really, really hits home with a lot of people,
Boy, we had
especially.
no idea that was coming.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
does. It really it talks about that changing landscape in Appalachia, and we had no idea. I mean, who could have foreseen a hurricane hitting the mountains?
Exactly. And that's something
Yeah.
we were all concerned about when Hurricane Helene came through in 2024. And we were like, oh my gosh, we're so far inland. And it's
I
like,
know. It's just like what to get
yeah,
that far north, to go that get that far north and that far northeast. But the Western North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee had been a kind of home for bluegrass music and
yeah,
acoustic music for forever. Um, so it was only the way this played out. We made a really beautiful video for this, where
yes.
we had footage of the devastation.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
From the hurricane. place with these lyrics in this song that you were talking about, Face of Appalachia. Anyways, so
We wanted to do something, and John and I traveled to Asheville in December and did a benefit concert at a great acoustic club there called the
the
Great
great,
Eagle. So it has
yeah,
been there forever. But we had our friends Daryl Scott
Jeff Sype.
and just Jeff Sipe playing with us, and we raised a little bit of money, but we really wanted to do something more ongoing, and so we used the video and the imagery, most of it from our friend Madison Thorne, who was there taking photographs. We wanted to direct people to different charitable organizations that are on the ground helping to rebuild and restore that region.
Yeah,
Just
and
because
you
it's
yeah.
going to take forever. And
Yeah.
the nature of the world we live in, there was another disaster on the other side of the country a few weeks later, and we tend to forget the ongoing struggles. I mean, the fires in LA, it's the same thing. They're going to be
Hmm.
rebuilding for ages, ages and ages. And, there'll be another thing that takes all of our attention. Meanwhile, people stay and have to rebuild. So we wanted to do something that would hopefully keep generating
Yeah.
some help.
Yeah, that
Attention and help. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And you did capture that by being in Asheville and getting a sense of what's happened with the community. Because, you think, oh, you're in the mountains, you're so protected. And then it shows the vulnerabilities of that landscape when that hits. And you could see roads washed away and, people
Yeah.
who've built so much up there. And I love that area so much. And just a little, thing for their CVB, because I've visited many times. I've been a travel writer, so I've written about Asheville many times, and definitely visit. It's coming back. It really is, and they're working
Is
very, very hard. And
Yeah.
give where you can. And that information is at the end of that video.
right.
Beautiful video they did.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah, all black and white, just really shows the grittiness of something like that when it happens. It's just
And you can still see the beauty of that region. I mean, it's even through the devastation, it's just such a magical landscape. And yeah,
It's kind of like it's a terrible beauty that video is.
mhm.
Horrific beauty, and I don't know how you say that, but it's got both.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that is a very good descriptor of something like that. You just, it really is. It's magnificent. Definitely fall time is really nice when you see the different colors popping up, go leaf peeping
Oh,
up
yeah.
there. It's just, yeah,
Leaf peeping. That's,
yeah, as we call that down here.
that's
Yeah,
exactly right. Yeah.
really, really nice. Yeah. So, how many tracks on here, Andrea, do you take the lead vocals on? I know, John, you've got some vocals on here too. Take Me to the
I
Alley, kind
haven't
of.
counted up. I have not
Yeah,
counted it up. I think it's about
It's
even.
close
And
to
then there's
even.
and
Yeah.
then there's
kind of
several that
even.
we sing which we feel like are kind of equally emphasized, including Trying to Survive is one of those, and where we just are both singing together
And
throughout.
it's straight up.
Straight up,
Yeah,
rolling down
really
a
nice.
hill.
That's a duet, rolling down the hill. There's three duets, and then I guess the rest of it is broken into songs Andrea sings and the songs that I sing. So
Mhm.
Yeah,
there's
Take Me to
10.
the
There's
Alley really does that well with me. Take Me to the Alley is just
Isn't it?
definitely has that vibe to it.
I am
Yeah.
so proud of that. I think that song was written by one of my favorite artists, Gregory Porter, and you're taking a big risk or you bite of this landscape when you decide to do something that's already been done so beautifully in the first place.
Hmm.
So that is a risk, but I feel like I'm very proud of what we did on that song. It came out if, when I still listen to it today. As soon as the piano starts playing, it's just like I just my blood pressure goes down, and I get in a space, and then the message of the song is so beautiful, which is when he or she returns, this is what we think he or she is going to do. They're not going to go hang out with the politicians, and
Yeah.
but they're going to be guided to go to help the people that are in need, and that's what this whole thing's supposed to be about.
Yeah, great lyrics in there. Yeah, come sit at my table. I'm your friend. It's just
Yeah.
it really feels good. Yeah, definitely. Good cast of characters on here too as well. If you want to mention some of your contributors here, especially on piano and in the band, some really very good talent here.
Yeah, we had some excellent help. We had in our studio band, the first person we called was a fantastic artist and friend of ours named Daryl Scott. So he's throughout just playing all the acoustic guitars and mandolins, mandolas. And he sang a lot of the parts with us when we wanted to add a part. We had Daryl because we've just all collaborated together over the years. Um, we had Reese Winans, the great B3 player, who played. I mean, he's just legendary. Played on
He
several
was,
tracks.
well, he was, Reese was in Stevie Ray Vaughan's Double Trouble. That's how
Uh,
most people know him. And now he plays with Joe Bonamassa. So,
Yeah.
yeah, who was just here as well, who came here on my birthday actually, and
Oh,
I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan back in the day.
oh
oh, how
man.
cool!
At Ohio University. He
Oh,
played
wow.
he played there. Yeah. Fabulous Thunderbirds opened up for
Oh,
them
how
early
lucky!
1986.
Oh, wow.
Wow, what a show that must have been.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
I think
Just
I think he was sober then by
I think he was.
86.
Yeah. I really do. Yeah, he was just, hitting his stride,
Yeah.
and yeah, at least the last 5 years of his life, I think he was totally on a
Hmm.
good track. Oh, life can be so cruel in so many ways.
I
Doesn't make
know.
any sense most of the time.
No, it really
I
doesn't.
mean, you just try to wrap your brain around it and just it's full of, you were talking about the what did you call it? Horrific beauty in
Yeah.
Appalachia right now. It's like I think about that. It's like we have all these beautiful things in the world, but there's an equal measure of things that are just so difficult and so hard, and they seem to go together. They seem to require the company of the other. I don't understand that, but it just I see that showing up over and over and over again.
It's
Hmm.
darkness and light, yin and yang, as far as I
That's
can
right.
tell.
That's right.
Yeah, totally. So your fiddle gets quite a workout on this album, Resurrection
You
Road.
know, we did this in such an unusual fashion. What did we spend 2 days in the studio, John, cutting tracks, or
Yeah.
three? I can't remember.
I think
Uh,
too.
But we had Wendy in town. Wendy Waldman, our producer, lives in Los Angeles. So we flew her in to Nashville for a week. And that's all the time we had face to face with her. And so we were working fast. And so a lot of the vocals that are on the record were actually our tracking vocals. What we did live in the studios, we were cutting the tracks. But then when it came time to overdub, we went to John's house and set up a little makeshift studio because he had this beautiful sort of cathedral-like space in his house. And so I think we did all the lead vocals in a day. We did all the
Pretty
harmony
close.
vocals in a day. Like we did all the fiddle in a day. We did all the bass in a day. Like that was our time. And it was really fast for that amount of work. We actually recorded 14 songs. And so usually, I would belabor stuff so much more than we did, but it was kind of fun. Just like, don't overthink anything, just
Hmm.
go. And it was a really different approach for me. I loved it actually. It's kind of freeing. Even, and I hear it and go, God, I would never play that rough on purpose or leave some of the flaws, to what I hear. I hear things that go, oh, I would have fixed that on a different project. But I kind of love the spirit of it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how some people can like really obsess over it. I think you could do it too much, where then you're gonna
Can.
make it like worse if you keep going
Yeah.
on and on obsessing over little detail in any kind of production, whether it's audio or
Right.
video.
Right. Oh, I know. It's like that you have to kind of get good at the macro and the micro and just kind of zooming in and out and really it's hard to be objective. It's really hard to be objective in that in like you said, any creative endeavor when you're, you know, zoom in and work on a little thing and then go, wait a minute, what's that like in the whole?
Yeah, yeah, and it does. When I Stop Loving You, I have to ask you about that too. I love
Oh God,
the
just
organ, piano. It's just bluesy. Oh my God, really? Yeah, you got your bluesy moment there. I really just felt like it was in that track.
That was written by Larry Campbell and William.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Teresa.
Bell?
Oh, that's right, William Bell.
Who's a legendary R&B singer.
Mm.
And William's got to be in his 70s, or not even maybe in his 80s. I'm not even sure he's still with us. But anyways, this was written by our dear friends, and what a song! It's basically a shout out to the 60s, mid 60s, late 60s R&B songs.
Okay, I just,
It's
as a
great.
fan of John Cowan, I just have to say this. I'm interrupting you, I know. If you know John Cowan's voice,
Oh yeah.
this is so far and deep down his alley that it had to be done. Like when you think about John Cowan doing his thing, this is it. Crooning, letting like soaring vocal, owning that. I'm not going to say bad words, but I could. This is so down your alley.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Written for you. Yeah, definitely. And something, it's got to fit that person. Certain songs just do. Certain songs just don't. And you know it when you feel it, and it's definitely
Yeah.
crafted in that way. Yeah, definitely. So you're going to do a live performance. This is the album release
That's
party.
tomorrow. We're
So-
actually not playing. We're going to. We've set it up. We've set
Listening
up like
party.
just
we've set
listening.
up.
Okay.
It's like a cocktail party,
Ah,
basically.
yeah, yeah.
And we'll show both the videos, which I don't think you haven't seen the one for Barbed Wire Boys, but we will make sure that you get a copy of that, Bob.
Yeah,
But we're
Barbed Wire.
basically
Who are
having
the Barbed Wire boys, actually? Yeah.
who are they? They're all the farmers from my dad's generation. I come from 5 generations of farmers
Mm.
that ended during the Great Depression. That was the last. My grandfather actually, kind of a sad situation. He was afraid of losing the farm, so he went and tried to get money from the bank to sustain himself through the stock market crash, and they wouldn't give him any money. He
Mm.
went home, and I think he thought that if he died, that the insurance would save his farm for my grandma. And anyways,
Mm.
but he ended up killing himself,
Oh
which is
gosh.
terrible. A lot of people did during the Great Depression.
Yeah, just awful, awful. Yeah, I remember the first time I heard something similar to that was like when Don Henley did A Month of Sundays, and it reminded me of the farmers and the struggles that they've had throughout, really all of our history, really, and they're still struggling to this day
Oh
in
yeah.
different ways.
Mhm.
Gosh. Yeah, it's every time you turn around now, we're dealing with a whole bunch of different issues. So, yeah.
Right. It's still not getting better. I mean, it's always been a really difficult way of life and so incredibly necessary to all of our survival. What would we do without them?
Oh, it's so true. And like big corporations have totally like taken over in so many ways. And you got to work harder to find the organic farmers, the people who really
Right.
it's really
Right.
tough.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to really seek out those family farms and yeah, it's tough and they're working as hard as they ever have.
Gosh. So you both
Yeah.
have really wonderful careers. And Andrea, you remember winning that fiddle contest going way back in Illinois? That must have been, what was
How
that
old were
feeling
you?
like?
Yeah, how old were
I
you then?
loved it. Well, that was when I was making the transition well, not transition, but I was learning fiddle music in addition to my classical music. I assume are
When
you
you were
talking
about
about
10 years
Champagne?
old? Yeah.
10 years old. That's when I met Alison Krauss, who lived in the same town. She lived in Champaign and I lived in Urbana. And we met at the Champaign County Fair at the fiddle contest. And I was 10 and she was 8, and we had just been learning our little tunes. And it was unlike anything I had experienced to that point, because when my dad kind of talked to the local luthier about fiddle music and about trying to keep me interested, and we had a few records at home, and we're listening to tunes, and I learned 3 songs for that contest.
You remember what they were?
I think one of them was the Flop-Eared Mule. One of them was a waltz.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one. And then the other one was There's a Hole in the Bucket. Remember that? Oh no, there's a hole in the bucket. Dear Liza, dear Liza. Remember that one? That must have been my waltz. I can't remember what the other one was. Anyway, but there was this whole community of like fiddlers and guitar players and everybody who'd say, "Hey, let me show you this tune." And then I started understanding the oral tradition of that kind of music, and that community. And there were all these kids, because I was in the junior division, Allison was in the novice division, and there were just all these kids playing music, and it was so much fun. It was unlike anything I had experienced. It was great.
This is so cool.
That tradition is still going on, thank goodness.
Yeah,
Good.
that's the beauty. It's one of those unchanged things, untouched by the corporate thing that seems to be everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you ever think you'd be playing fiddle for some pretty big names? You're talking about like Vince Gill and people like that.
Vince, and yeah,
dreams.
I didn't know I didn't know where it was going to go. I knew I started college early, and I had a teacher who was really encouraging me to make a hard choice between classical and everything else, because she felt like everything else was taking away from my classical attention and my classical studies. And I just never wanted to choose. And I just felt like Nashville was a place where I would be able to pursue both things. And this was back in the 80s, when I don't think there were as many people kind of mixing and genre bending, at least in the classical world. There was a real stigma if you didn't, if you played anything else, unless it was jazz, and that was okay. But I felt like Nashville was the place where I could continue to do both things. And I always wanted to be able to collaborate with other people, John being one of them, because when I moved here, I had not yet met John, but I was definitely a fan, a serious fan of Newgrass Revival. So I think, that envisioning who you might get to work with was a slow process. But things started becoming, I don't know, I could see the possibilities once I was here, I think.
Yeah, Nashville's a great community. I've had many guests on here, and they just rave about it, how supportive everybody is of one another.
Yeah. Yeah,
It is
really.
it's interesting in that regard. The musical community is very open. It's very supportive. It's not a lot of cutthroat stuff. It's like, Andrea could attest to this. How many nights a year do we all go to play for somebody's benefit? 30, 20,
Yeah.
25?
Yep.
And it's always somebody with cancer, somebody whose house is burned down, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the musical
Sure.
community just coalesces and gathers and does what we need to do for whoever's suffering,
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. So, and as far as touring is going this year, it looks like you're pretty busy with all of that, just getting out there and just the different acts. I know the Doobies are going to be overseas for a bit and coming back here to the States for some dates. And in addition, are the two of you going to be doing a lot of touring together, a lot of live shows together?
We
We
are
will,
looking at the fall. Yeah.
yeah.
We both get off of our legacy gigs, our day jobs. We'll be able to circle back around. So we're looking forward to hopefully September, October, starting to book some things.
Very good.
Yeah,
Well,
we have to kind of let the stars align,
yeah.
and the tour buses park, and then we can get in the van.
Still like touring after all these years? I mean, John, you definitely have gotten your share of your time on the road and planes, trains, automobiles, I'm sure.
I don't. I always tell people I don't know how to do anything else, so I'm kind of stuck.
Trying to
but,
retire, but I can't.
but to be perfectly honest, that traveling gets harder as you get older. It just
It
does. It's
does.
like loss of sleep, time zone changes.
A lot of
It's
wear and
just
tear.
and bus sleep is not real sleep, no matter what they tell you, because
No, it's a myth.
you can be
It's like,
asleep in your bunk, but if your body's being pitched to and fro, it knows. Some
I
part of
say
your
it's like
consciousness
dog years. I
knows
always
I might be dead in a couple minutes.
get knocked around. I always feel like it's dog years. Like an hour of sleep on the bus is like about 15 minutes of sleep in a real bed.
Are
But
you,
it's
yeah, are you amazed when you go overseas? How's it different there and how you're received over there too? That's got to be an interesting feeling how audiences receive these songs from the US. It must be fascinating in some places where they don't speak our language.
I always find that like you can the character of the audience is what I notice. Like an Irish audience is so different than like a Scandinavian audience, which is so different than a New Zealand audience. It's like they all, when you go to Ireland, it's in a lot of places actually very different from the US is that they will listen in stone silence to everything
Mhm.
you say, everything you play. But then when there's a break, they erupt in thunderous applause. And but we're so not used to a silent crowd. We're used to quiet crowds sometimes, but not silent. And it's really interesting. It's like you have to kind of be okay with that. It can be a little
Yeah,
unnerving, when you're not used to it. But
same with the Pan Asian. You go to Japan, anywhere over there, and it's first you don't know what to think because they're kind of sitting there, but what they're doing is as Andrea said, they're focusing on you and what you're doing, and they're really their consciousness is aimed towards you, which is
mhm,
you're not just entertainment. I
they're
guess is the
really
way to put it.
listening. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
definitely
very
the
respectful.
Japanese.
It's wonderful. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. And this is little nuggets. So, John, you participated in a movie about the life of Billy Graham. How did that
oh
one?
my god. Yeah, that was
Did
there was
not
a
know
Who played Billy
this.
Graham? And I had to look that one up. I just saw like that nugget. It's like
and
Billy.
Army Hammer was the playing Billy Graham, the actor.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And what's funny, I went out, I got a call to go do this thing, and I went out there, and sure enough, I get there, and I know four or five other people that have gotten the same call, and we're like, "Oh, you're doing this too? Yeah, we're going to be the choir today." So that kind of thing. I think I saw both Ronnie and Robbie McCory that day
Oh, my
from Del
goodness.
McCurry's band. Anyways,
Yeah. Goes back to 2008. That's just one of those little nuggets in anybody's catalog or career. It's just that's really
That's great.
amazing. Well, best of luck to both of you as you embark on your legacy touring and then coming together to do your duo and getting out there. And we'll see. I definitely see the Doobie Brothers this summer for sure here in
yeah.
the U.S.
Thank you so much for having
Yeah,
us. Really
definitely.
appreciate you
Take
taking
care.
the time. Thank you. You too.
Please stay in touch, Bob, and thank you for your time and your attention. And that's all I can tell you.
Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your very busy schedules to speak with me. So take care.
All right,
Okay.
Bob.
You
Have
Thank
a good
you.
one. Bye bye.
Bye.
Wasn't that wonderful? Oh gosh, it's so funny how John conjures up his inner Michael McDonald. How could it not? As I was saying in this podcast, it's just that voice. You could hear it in your head, and so many try to replicate that or have fun trying to replicate that, as you might even see in the Yacht Rock documentary that's streaming on Max as we speak here in 2025. It's a great documentary if you haven't seen it about Yacht Rock. So I love that. And this is so cool that he gets to play with Michael McDonald. Oh my gosh. I'm just floored. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed our conversation and hope to see you all again soon. Take care.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.